Hi guys, it's George Hewitt here. Welcome to the Supercoach Swordplay podcast.
In pick 16, Chris Lyons have selected Darcy Wilmot from
Jeez, I love you blokes.
G'day guys, welcome back to the Supercoach Swordplay podcast. It is season 6, episode 4, and what a week it is. I've got no idea why we actually play Supercoach because the stress, the injuries, the carnage, it's getting to us already. Normally, this is a little bit later on in the season, but boys, season 2026 has hit us with an absolute bang. Janath, how are you, brother? The Baggers doing better than the Lions at the moment, but how are things in general, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. In terms of everything but Supercoach, doing very well. Yeah, good week to actually not have to stress about the Baggers, which is always good, but that just ended up me being stressed about my Supercoach side. So the less we talk about that, the better. But I do think that there is a method to this madness that we'll be talking about very soon. Spillsy, how are you, mate? Do you want to talk about the Bombers?
Not really. Like I gave up hope a long time ago, so I didn't watch a single bit of the game. So what does that tell you, boys? Absolutely checked out. It is what it is. Nothing's going to change anytime soon. So why lose sleep over it? I say so. Yeah, another tough year for the boys, but I guess the only thing was I did Captain Butters against Essendon, thinking that it'll be an easy matchup, and then did have Cherry there. We'll get to that later on, but. It's going to be a long year, boys. It's going to be a long year for the Dons, and hopefully they can get something going soon. But yeah, it looks like a long way away. But yeah, going well, boys. Going really well.
It's all right, Spills. You got plenty of fit young talent like Dyson Sharp. Oh no, he's gone.
Don't say. Don't
sorry,
go
mate. An early little drive by. I shouldn't do that. The young man's injured, and we've all got him. And that is
the one man, that Captain Cherry. You go for your life, mate. You take whatever drive by you want. Cop a hit. I can take a
slight head wobble this week, but we'll get to that soon. Let's quickly go through the agenda. So we'll go through our round reviews. I'll have a quick rant. Spillsy's got his tweet of the week. It's not a good thing that the list is long, but we unfortunately will have to talk about these injuries. There's two that we all know about, obviously Rosie and Petrarca. We'll talk about some timelines looking like must trades at the moment, but we will get to that. We'll then talk about some of the replacements, some premium replacements, then go all the way down to the rookie data dump. Spillsy's going to come with a bit of DPP crystal ball. Who are those players looking to get some extra flexibility in the first changes? And then we'll have the Capitano's Corner and finish with our trades for the week. So a big episode, boys. Let's crack straight into it. And obviously, Rossco, a very, very busy man, hopefully back with us next week. We've actually bumped up the total, had an absolute legend buy a beanie during the week. So that is now $340. So if you are interested, guys, in any of the beanies, not too late to get a guide if you want to support us that way, or else the polos, the t-shirts, the hoodies, everything else, supercoachswordplay.com. That would be much appreciated. In game day squad, surely I'm almost convinced that if you're tuning into this podcast, you'll be involved in GDS. If you're not for some reason, you're a nutter, just get involved. Put the code word in Butcher, Butcher, after our good friend Colby, and you'll get some extra free packs on top of what you do just for signing up and then verifying. So massive competition. And if you are interested, we also produce a separate potty specifically for GDS. We go through the best players, locks, pods, avoids, and it's a lot of fun. So that goes for about 40 minutes to an hour. If you are interested, make sure you check that out as well. Okay. Open League, still not too late as well. 581479. And then we go to the top of the pod. Now, the man isn't here this week. He was first. Rossco, first time top of the pod last week. Now, he hasn't completely fallen off here. He is down to third, though. Second, Spillsy, you are crawling your way up, son. And look, I reckon this is going to be just for a single week and probably because of a captaincy decision. I'm currently sitting at the top of the pod, but I think that's going to be a pretty rare sight this year. The elephant in the room, the professor. Well, what we might do is go to the round reviews and start with you, my friend, because this is very, very odd seeing a score like this come from you. You did say there was method to the madness, and there's a little bit going on behind the scenes in your team.
Uncharted waters a little bit here. 1735 in terms of not looking too good from the score wise. I still think that there is a bit of a method to the madness. I've got 520k banked, and this was pre-trades. Now, Rosie and Petrarca are out, so that means I can basically sideways them to anyone I want, and even could bring a rookie up to a premium. I think, though, going to play the responsible way and try to get as much cash gen in as possible. That's what's worked in the past, but bringing that 500k into the next couple of weeks. I'm already eyeing off a couple of Giants and Saints after their bye, possibly even getting Naz and Whitfield in 2 trades. So I think it might take a bit of a while to pay off, but hopefully with some reinforcements. Only at 5 tons in the weekend, which probably says a fair bit about the quality of the side at the moment. And a high score of 135. Not really going to get too far with that sort of thing. So let's move on from here. Did end up captaining Harry Sheasel. Was looking for a really, really, really good score at halftime. Just petered out. Cherry took over. 180 point second final 3 quarters, which you boys, I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yes. Look, mate, if there's anyone that can come back quickly, it is you. I'm talking anyone. It is absolutely you, mate. So good to see you not panicking, not stressed, and you've got some plans put in place, which is good, mate. We'll go to Rossco next. A 1784 from the great man. Total score 4144 with a really solid season rank to date, 14075. And Janath, I believe that Rossco was on the Shees train in regards to captaincy.
He was, yes, he was.
No Sherry, but a pretty safe pick at the end of the day.
Had the Bont. That's the big winner there.
Had the Bont, but didn't have him in the captaincy loop. But hey,
no, that's it.
At least he's got him, and we can't say the same thing. So well done, Rossco. Hopefully you'll be back next week, mate. Spillsy, you're up next, mate. A 1918. Very, very solid.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It was a pretty good week, so I think it definitely had a lot to do with my trade. So we got rid of Hayden Young and Lockie Blackiston. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking with Blackiston. I'm so glad he's gone, and Black Cashew, no good. I was going to give him another week against this, and I had a feeling that Sweet was going to come back in and have a big impact, and I just didn't want a bar of it. So I was flirting around with some trades, and I had I'm not trying to sound like cocky, but I have nailed the rookies this year, and I'm thinking after the buys, this is prior to knowing that Lindsay was going to get dropped. We'll talk about that later on. But I'm thinking I don't have a loophole coming out of the buyers. It's looking pretty good. So I was looking to bring in White at R3, which I think is fine. He'll serve a purpose throughout the rest of the year. And I bought in the big man, Bonapali. So, I just got that done with 4K in the bank. So it just felt like it was meant to be. I didn't VC him, unfortunately, but only lost out on, 5 or 6 points with Butters. So, that's fine. But, I did have Cherry. Absolutely huge. Big X, only 20% sides, and he was in my side. So not like DR, didn't have the C on him, but it didn't matter. I was just as happy as he would have been. I was just out of my seat going, this bloke is taking the piss. He is so good. So very happy owner, and that would have been a pretty tough own if you didn't have him. But did regret not captaining him, but I was super unsure. But there's a lot of carnage as well. So what to do with Rosie and Petrarca we'll obviously get to. But feeling pretty good about the week, boys. Hopefully we can keep bouncing back, and I think Cherry's pretty gettable this week with those 2 injuries. But all in all, pretty solid. And Clark bounced back too. Got to give a shout out to Geordie. Was always going to, mate. Was always going to. He had a mare like 10 minutes there against Geelong, couple big turnovers, gave away 50, I'm pretty sure as well. So yeah, that's not going to happen every week. So yeah, Geordie responded. So I think we're in a really good spot, and yeah, we'll bounce back from these two injuries. But that everyone has, so it's not everyone's got Rosie, everyone's got Petrarca. So it's not like it's not just in my side. I'm not the only one struggling. There's gonna be others as well. So we'll get to that anyway. But yeah, pretty solid week, boys.
Yeah, that's the thing with these injuries. Every decent team, I reckon's got Petrarca and Rosie. So we're all having to deal with it, mate. Finally, me, 1931. Obviously, put the C on Brig Tristan, which is really nice. Cop the usual injuries. Rosie track, sharp as a rookie. Been pretty disappointing anyway. The stars, apart from Sherry, you had Shees, Butters, Clark, and I'm going to put Dev Robertson in there as well. I'm seriously thinking with the way the forward crop is looking at the moment, he could be our F6 for the rest of the year if he stays fit and healthy, Dev. Getting some big minutes in the middle. So just want to give him a shout out. And then, yeah, lots of underperformers. I'm going to go right to my big primos in Anderson and Richards. Spotlights on them. Not that I'm thinking about trading them out in any way, shape or form. But, yeah, disappointing when you've got the Bonds of the world going you 140. Butters I've got. So won't continue on, but all in all, a decent week, currently in the top 3%. So, look, ranking at this stage of the year doesn't matter too much, but to have a half-decent start, it's always good. And my rant, it's a pretty obvious one. It's all these bloody injuries. So, I know I'm not the only one. Other people are worse off. I wasn't an Errol owner, for example. People have already had to deal with one primo. Now you're getting 2, 3, others 4 within 2 weeks. This is proper Supercoach carnage. And I've said it before, I know, but it feels like there's never been a time like this before. I'm sure there has, but everyone is suffering at the moment, but all in the same boat. Spillsy, your tweet of the week.
Yeah, I've gone with this one. I can't remember if it was you or Rossco that sent this through, Janath, but yeah, another one that was just, yeah, pretty good. So yeah, 1%ers, kudos to them. Big shout out. TDK's game yesterday was the lowest rated since Joel Amati kicked 0 goals 6 against Port in round 15 last year. And geez, what are they paying him, boys? I don't like to throw players on the bus. Nothing against TDK, but is he one of the most overrated in the comp? To be honest, am I exaggerating, Janath? Like, you laugh at that, but I mean, what are they paying him?
Well, Janath thought he was generational. When he was playing for
Carlton, took him down in the first half.
What is he now, Janath?
Cashew status.
Oh, he's a B grader, mate. No, I'm just kidding. Roscoe's
generational to B grader.
No. He's a good player. I don't think he's worth 1.7.
Breath of fresh air for Pitnet.
He's a good player. He'll come good. I think the AFL ratings do care a lot about sort of a player's efficiency rating, and I think he went a 19%, which is probably what contributed to this. He'll come good. And they won maybe the worst TDK performance, the better the Saints do. I don't know. That's a small sample size snippet that we've got so far.
Yeah. No, sure.
TDK. Well, at least we don't own him in Supercoach, so could be worse, boys. All right.
Know a few that do.
Talk about bad things, the injuries. Now, Janath, we've got 2 superstars here. There's a little bit of carnage in between these guys as well, but do you have for all of us any updates on injury timelines for the cement bag Christian Petrarca and Port Adelaide captain Connor Rozee?
Do you want the bad news or the bad news first?
There's no good. There's no other option.
There is no good news, unfortunately. Well, I mean, the good news is that we'll be forced to trade, which I guess if they ended up being 2 to 3 weekers, you're in a bit of a tough situation where you can't choose. Christian Petrarca, 6 to 8 weeks, hamstring. It could be 4. I think it was originally 4 to 6, but they're taking a conservative approach. So if he gets back in 4 to 6, that'll be a big win for the Sunnies there. The big one, though, Connor Rozee, up to possibly 3 months because he's torn a tendon in the hamstring. Nerve damage, according to him as well. So the Port skipper's gone. And I think, simply put, these 2 are must-trade outs, whether or not that's this week or next week. Whenever you do it, they're probably not going to be in our teams in the short-term future, possibly at the end of the year. But again, once you get these injuries, very hard to try to get that trust back. There are some very other relevant ones, perhaps not so much of the player, but for their teammates. I'll start off by talking about Mason Redmond, out for a month with a lateral meniscus injury. So a knee injury suffered in the first quarter in the same game. Now, this should help Archie Roberts. We definitely saw Archie Roberts go back into defense once Redmond did go out. Definitely got much more off the pillar. And I think he's much more suited to the halfback position at this stage in Archie Roberts' career. Rory Laird out 1 to 2 weeks. Owning him in GDS. I thought he was cooked in the first quarter when he came off with the calf. Somehow the desk got back out there and did something, but he's out for 1 to 2 weeks. Now, I don't know what this means, but does this mean that Braden Cork, a Chase Jones, a little bit more job security? Does it mean that someone goes back into defense to cover them? Josh Worrell is also a test for this week. I think he also had a bit of a niggle as well. So 1-2 way up there, but Roy Laird is out. Dyson Sharp, no structural damage to the ankle. He may be a test. They haven't mentioned anything. He may miss some games in the short term. That's definitely one to consider in terms of whether or not he's one that we want to hang around in our sides. Does he get straight back in? Is the role even good enough for him to be relevant in the first place in, sorry, Spillsy, quite a poor Essendon side? Like, I don't think, unless he's playing inside.
You're too nice. You're too nice.
Inside mid.
We're shit.
Now, here's one that is slid under the radar a little bit. Another hamstring at Tigerland, Toby Nankervis. 6 to 8 weeks for him as well. And does
yes.
this open the door
yes, absolutely. Let's go. Carry on, mate. Carry on.
I mean, there are a couple of options here. We obviously have the short-term matchup for Luke Dogger Jackson playing up against Richmond, but I think also we can look at on the other flip side, who replaces Tobin and Curvis? Is it Oliver Hayes-Brown, a 119K rookie that we could be getting at the R3 position in a couple of weeks?
Sorry, who's that?
Yeah,
I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out if he plays, mate. I don't think he's ever played a game before. Yes, he has yet to debut. So if he does play, I guess we'll find out. Samson Ryan is still a couple of weeks away, I think. So whatever happens, mate, we're going to see a new ruckman at the Tigers for at least the next 8 weeks. So whoever it is, there may be one to be getting on.
Wow.
DR, you're shocked?
I didn't know. I was just shocked about Samson Ryan. I didn't realize that Samson Ryan was injured. I thought, well, Samson will come in. He's got a bit of experience. But they're literally looking at, I forget his name, Harry Hyphen, who hasn't played a game. And Big Bad Dogger is just, just going to, his bark's going to be big this week, you'd say. Yeah. Wow.
So according to John Ralph, Richmond doesn't have a fit established ruckman. Sims has an navicular injury in the foot. Samson Ryan plantar fasciitis. Nank the hammy. Ollie Hayes-Brown, a former Perth Wildcat in the NBL, is the next man up. He was the ruckman in the VFL for the Tigers. Okay. So possibly there, mate. Now, Tom Lynch is also 4 to 5 weeks out. So we might see Samson Ryan and Oliver Hayes-Brown in the same side as well. So that's the double whammy over there, Tigerland. Tom Liberatore, the hammies just keep coming here. 3 weeks out with a hamstring as well. Now, you lose one to the bye. 2 weeks possibly without Tom Liberatore for the likes of Ed Richards, Riley Sanders, Marcus Bontempelli, and possibly the biggest beneficiary, Joel the Fridge Frazier. I think if you're looking to sideways track, he's not playing this week, but he could be the one. Again, though, are you going to be going there? I think there are better options on other lines. Boys, how many hamstrings is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hamstrings. Miles Bergman is also TBD. He didn't finish the game, I don't think, against Essendon. So absolute carnage all around, boys. That's a very long injury list. Anything else that you boys want to add?
No, just and it's not a discussion for now because we could go on a massive tangent, but has this got something to do with the new rules, the speed of the game now? It'd be interesting to see. I don't know.
I think so. I reckon at the age, other than Rose, a lot of them are like pushing 30 the game's been played with a lot higher pace. And like we've discussed, it's always benefited someone like a Max Holmes who's going to run out games with speed. And these older lads are sort of, coming off second best, which is a bit of a shame, but it might play a factor, I reckon.
And I guess it just brings us back to first principles, right? These guys, they're all pretty old. If Adam Treloar is who replaces Tom Liberatore in the lineup, and in 3 weeks' time we think about it, I think we need to come back to round 2, 2026 and think, no way. Darcy Parish is in the side right now, and I'm shivering.
Yeah.
The possibility that he does something is ridiculous.
And I think this is a really good segue into the potential premium trading options this week, brother. And can I just give some advice before we go into this? And I tweeted this actually before, I think it might have been the Rosie injury. Do not trade out any healthy primos at the moment, because blokes are dropping like flies. I would just be, even if they're a little bit disappointing, holding on just for now, because who knows what's going to happen next week? We've just lost Track and Rosie. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to curse anyone. But let's just say if it's a couple of other highly owned players, what on earth are we going to do then? So, please don't trade out your healthy primos unless they are absolutely in the doghouse for one reason or another. But there's no easy answer, I don't think, boys, to this quandary about who to bring in for these particular players. Look, everyone's in a bit of a different position. You've got Rosie, who's obviously a defender and a midfielder. For lots of people, they'll have him in defense, obviously. And for others, you may be able to swing him into the midfield. You may already have a grill there, as an example. You may have him in the flex. There are many different ways that teams are structured up at the moment. So I don't think there is one size fits all here. So I think really what we need to do is probably cover each and every line. You got Track, who's obviously a mid forward, but I know personally for me, I'm thinking about bringing a particular ruckman into the side. So I think that it may be to use a bit of DPP magic here and help yourself out. Don't be forced into someone just because they're on a particular line if you've got a little bit of flexibility. So all I've done here is just sort by average. And look, Janath, you're probably the best one just to throw this one to. Now, I am a bit of a bias owner of Tristan Sherry. I've been all in from the start. A big reason was because of the opening fixture, and he's already had 2 really big games. As a non-owner yourself, is your view on Tristan Sherry that people are chasing points, or do you think we've seen enough now to maybe not panic anymore with the rucks, and it's an opportunity to just get him in now? Similar to maybe if you've missed out on a Bond, who we know is on a buy, maybe not an option this week, but which way are you viewing the Tristan Sherry trade-in as a non-owner?
Oh, I'm kicking myself for not starting him. Like the overthinking of the rules really sucks. And I guess his preseason didn't really help in that regard. He had a really good preseason out in last year, came out firing. So the logic is, it doesn't look too great with the new rules, and he doesn't. But you boys stuck fat, and for that, it clearly shows in your rankings there. I think one play summed it up for me. It was in, I think it was the West Coast forward line in probably it was the 4th quarter. Harley Reid gets the ball, barely gets the ball. Tristan Sherry pile drives him. And he's barely got the ball right, but it was enough of the ball so he doesn't get a hold in the man free kick, but he's just taken him. I don't know how Harley Reid got out that, because seeing the brute force that Cherry went through him with on a hot day, it felt every single time he touched the ball, he'd do these over the head handballs, and they'd go to a teammate. He'd be the second man into a tackle, and it somehow end up with the hold in the ball. Every single time he was near the ball, it ended up in 10 plus Supercoach points. And kudos to him, because that's the way. I think it was 27 possessions that he had, 20, or it might have been 25 possessions, 23 contested possessions, 9 tackles. Incredible.
Hit out to advantage is like huge. So every time I thought I get a hit out, it just went straight to LDU, and I'm like, far out, man. This is just a party.
And here's the scary part. And this is why I think, yes, it might be Slide's point chasing if it was any other player, and if it was any other fixture run.
Read it out, son. Come on.
Right,
read it out.
Essendon at Marvel Stadium. Carlton at Marblestone. Now, Pitternet is probably the best matchup he's going to get in terms of the hardest, which is saying something in the next. Until he gets to round 9 against Brodie Grundy, his next matchups is Brisbane, who could be the Draper-Fort combination, Richmond, who doesn't even have a ruck at this point, Kieran Briggs, who can't run, Mitch Edwards, or whoever rucks at Geelong in round 8, and then Brodie Grundy. Like, that's it. That's a joke. It's a joke of a fixture run, and it's something that you don't want to miss, I reckon. Like, you've just got to get on him.
You know, it's even more of a joke that he's got a break even of like 70 and he's nearly 700k.
The bloke's going to make
joke
cash.
to me.
How
He
good
presents
is that?
value.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
unders.
Well, the
Kenny
thing is,
Penny.
he's got a break even of 70 this week. He'll have a break even of 70 next week, and he's projected 151 this week. That might be unders.
Crikey. I'll tell you, but just very quickly back to that Harley Reid incident. I felt like I was part of Tristan Sherry there because remember what he did to my captain last week, Noah Anderson. Took him out for the rest of the game. So I was like, bad luck, Harley. A bit of captain karma. My captain this week has gone, that's right, D. I'll get him back for you, mate, and get you 199 at the same time. So my man love for Tristan Sherry at the moment. Yeah, massive. So, yeah, big fan of the pick. And Janath, as a non-owner, I really like your summation there, mate. And that was a big part of the reason why I started him was that run. So
yeah,
I agree. It's not necessarily chasing points when you look at that run because it looks like he's just Tristan Sherry of last year. So the next one's a Bond. You obviously can't trade him in on the buy, but maybe it could be a potential strategy to hold and then bring in Bond. Boys, is there any merit in that? If you're looking all right for the buys this week, do you see a world where it's actually okay to say, look, let's say you can get one of these blokes in midfield or flex, Rosie track. I'm going to wait a week and jump on Bond after his buy. Do you think that's a legitimate play?
I reckon you want the points on field this week. I reckon you want the points on field. I couldn't do it.
Janet?
I wouldn't bring Bont in this week. I mean, we have enough flags to put out.
Wait the week.
Wait a week. So as in bank the cash. Yeah. In that sense, yes. Sorry, I thought you said to go Bont this week. But yeah, it's definitely a fine strategy. The problem becomes then if you're a non-owner of both, like myself, well, Cherry, I'll be bringing in this week. I don't think I can justify bringing in two players at 1.4 mil together. It's a very hard, like Bont also is a good fixture, but money runs out. And I think we've seen with a lot of rookies across the board, I'm just going to read some scores. Dyson Sharp, 14. Leo Lombard, 20. Mateus Filippo, 42. Sam Grill, 43. Like Caleb's wrong. Jai Strong. Oh, Caleb's wrong. Almost scored as much as Jai Strong. Jai Strong, 48. Like, I think we maybe, yes, we have a lot of 99Ks that are making us money, but I suspect we may be overestimating how much cash gen we're getting early. And unless some players debut and become those reliable cash geners, if these are our best cash cows right now, I'm not convinced that we'll be able to afford paying up 700k for every player that we want to bring in. So that's where I'm a bit hesitant to go. If you're a non-cherry and a non-Bont owner, getting both of them in back-to-back weeks feels a bit rich.
The Supercoach gods have looked after us here. Like, obviously, like what happened to Track and Rosé is so far from ideal, and we do wish them the best with their recovery. But it's given those that didn't start a Bont and a Cherry a huge lifeline here. Like, this is a big opportunity. Janath, mate, if you didn't have, or if Track and Rosé didn't get injured, I could not advocate for it. It's a lot of money to pay up, and I was so uncertain about the pick. He had an easy matchup, but now that you've lost these two, it's just such an easy trade for me. I mean, you almost have to do it just with this week's matchup.
Gorney there as well. Gorn's averaging well. He's obviously more than Sherry. I would be advocating Sherry over Gorn, but I think he's another example of someone that we just didn't really need to be too concerned about, Big Maxi. You then got Harry Sheasel, who I think is a really obvious pick if you don't own him, but we're assuming most of the comp do anyway. What's his 76.6%? So I'm assuming everyone that's tuning in this podcast owns him. All right, how about Jack Sinclair? So apart from Bont, he's the second player that we're looking at that has a buy, but it's not actually this week. Now, personally, I just cannot bring myself to trade in a premium player, say over 550K, that's going to be missing one of the next 2 weeks. So I just cannot do it to myself. And that's why I just asked about that play of just waiting the week and then getting the Bont, not having to force someone in just for the sake of it. But I can't advocate bringing someone in that's got to buy in the next 2 weeks. Boys, I'll throw it out to any of you before we get to certain players. Are there any players premium players that have a buy next week or this week that you'd actually bring in this week? Is there a world where, all right, let's cancel out this week, right? I don't think anyone will be bringing in a buy player this week, but let's look at the Saints and the Giants.
Yeah.
Is there a world where we look at the Sinclairs, the Lockie Ashes, who I'm sure if they were buy free would be automatic selections for someone like a Connor Rozee? But the tricky part is they'll be missing one of the next 2 weeks. Are there any players from either side, if you didn't currently own them, that you say you have to get in this week, or that you'd be prepared to get in this week? Anyone at all?
I don't think he's a must, but if there is one player, I'd say Lockie Ash. And there's a couple of reasons for this. 582K, breaking him 70. He looks to be the number one guy in the Giants' defense. Plays Collingwood this week that have given up bulk scores already to Sinclair in round 0, and then to both Josh Worrell and Rory Laird in round 1. With Collingwood, he's gone 136, 130 in the last 2 games for Ash. And his last 3 against Collingwood have been 122, 131, 109. And the reason why, if you're okay on the round 4 bye, his 6 fixtures after the bye, straight after the bye, are Richmond, Sydney a bit tougher, North, Gold Coast, Essendon, West Coast. Pretty juicy there. And so that's definitely something that you could be considering. I don't think there's anyone else that is on that bye that I think is a desperate must trade in this week, unless you don't have any fires to put out. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I'd agree. As I said, I just can't bring myself to bring in any players that have the buy.
I think it's really bad trading in Ash if you've already got like a Sinclair or a Nas, because in the midfield, absolutely, because the rookies are like a gun, like they're really good. But like this might be unique to my side, but I've currently got like Lindsay there still as a dead rookie currently. I've got ZZ there. I've got Sarong and Jax, but they've got a bye this week. I don't know. I think that's pretty poor cover, and I can't bring myself to do it. I've flirted with the idea of having Ash in my team, but then I go to round 4 and it looks putrid.
Just one other quick thing to consider as well is, as soon as they get off the bye in a couple of weeks, Lockie Whitfield currently is at 560K, and he's got a break even of 160. With the same run that Ash has, if he goes 100 this week, when he's off his bye, he's going to be at 530K. And he would have already dropped close to 70K in his starting price. Nazaya Wangani Malera, very similar. He's 584K, already dropped 38K from his starting price, break even.
He's the one for me. That's all I want.
Yours, DR. Like they're going to... Ash is the one that doesn't have the high break even off the 3, which is why if you've only got Sinclair and you think he can take on another defender, I agree totally with what you're saying, Spillsy, by the way. You could go Ash, but you should also consider that there are going to be 2 other defenders that are coming off the round 4 bye that should almost be bottomed out depending on how they go this week.
Yeah, I'd probably rather Nas at a reasonable price than Ash at the moment. I don't know. But
well, I like Ash as well, but just not given the fact he's got the buy. We've got 3 really relevant midfielders here in Merritt, Holmes, and Dacos. In my order, I'd be having Dacos, Holmes, and then Merritt. I don't know if you guys are any different, but Dacos is a really obvious pick. I think many have started him, over 58% of coaches. Max Holmes is the pod pick here at 2.9%, but I just think that the game and the way it's played is built for someone like a Max Holmes and the strings that he has to his bow. We can see, and it's only a 2-round average, you'll know this, but 122 points, a really solid week last week before the bye. Boys, would you be keen if you've got a spare midfield slot, giving it to Maxi Holmes?
Yeah. I don't mind it. I think he's fine. He's probably I probably have him third on my list at the moment. I rate it though. I reckon he's fine.
Third,
Yep.
Janath, how do you
I've
feel
gone
on
second.
Maxi?
I've got the same order as you, DR. Dacos, Holmes, Merritt. In terms of handballs receives, I think that's the order which is in, but they're all like top 5 for handball receives from memory or somewhere around that mark. The thing to note with Holmes is that he's at 600k and he hasn't gone up or down. He's got a break even of 102 this week. Yeah, that's right. It's not an easy fixture run. It's not a hard fixture run by any means.
Probably just wait.
I just don't want to go near any more Essendon players than I need to at this point, which is probably where it comes down to. And then Dacos, Toby Bedford. I know this is a name. He may be healthy this week, which obviously puts a bit of doubt around Dacos. If you already got him, you're not going to do anything. But if you're looking to trade him in, just one to monitor. But yeah, I like Dacos and Holmes a lot. I just want to throw another name out here that's sort of flown under the radar to start the season. One of my old DR, you call him my ex, Luke Davies-Uniacke. 104, 116 start the season. He looks different, looks more built, looks like he can carry the midfield a little bit now with Harry Sheasel there. At 526k, 82 break even coming up against Essendon, he's not the worst shot if you're looking to go a bit off Broadway for a midfield pick. I don't know if he's going to be best top 8, but he's going to have the same fixture run that Tristan Sherry had before, which is still a bit juicy for midfielders as well.
I think he's looked the best that he has in a little while, LDU. And there was a bit of news came out that he was battling through injury last year and he looks fit and he looks fiery. Now, I don't think LDU is the type that's going to pump out a 150 plus type score. He's got it in him, but I just don't really see it. I think it seems like you need 50 odd possessions to do that. The only slight concern I've got is when they have a bad loss, he has an off game. I think we can see some scores in the 70s, but to be honest, I view him as a safe pick at the price. I think he's a safe pick, someone that you could potentially leave at your M8. He's only got the single buy. The issue is that mid-season buy, and do you prioritize someone like him over bringing in someone like an English, a Bond, a Dawson, a Worrell? So many popular players. I could keep going on from that buy. So that's the only thing that puts me off, that hierarchy of priority in that round 12 buy. He's sort of down the list for me, but I love that shout, Janath. And I think value-wise, yeah, he's definitely someone that you could look to do. 100%, mate. I really
It's a good point you make, though. I'd love to see how he holds himself against, like your boys, Brizzy. Like, what if Brisbane just put the foot down and bowled him by 80? What's LDU scoring in that? Do they, is he turning up? Is he holding his own, or is he sort of just roll over with the side? We've seen him in a win and then in like a pretty competitive loss yesterday. So we kind of need to. It's a small sample size. I want to see him do it like that in a loss and keep his head held up. So like safe pick at the moment, yes, but how are North the real deal? Like, can they play some good footy this year, or is it just the same old stuff that it's been for the best part of 7 or 8 years? I'd love to see it turn, but
I wish I could. Causes the week before was like they won the premiership, but love your cause.
Yeah,
Look, I think with LDU, he's not going to cop the tag, is he? Really, you'd have to go to Sheasel, I think. Look, maybe, but I'd certainly be going to Sheasel.
Some
so
teams might send it to LDU as well, though. It's a 50-50.
It just doesn't say. Yeah.
They've sent
I
to
don't
him
mind
it.
We've talked about just the fact that he's under a bit of a cloud concerns me.
And the buy, mid-season buy,
right,
like you're talking about.
Tim English is the same. Tim English is the same on that buy. Now, you've got English and you've also got Dogger as well. Now, Spillsy, I think you're pretty big on the dog this week. Where is he here in regards to total to average? So he should be where's the dog with average? He's got to be there somewhere, doesn't he?
I think he's here. He's at number 7, isn't he?
Number 7.
I think you just missed him. Yeah.
I keep 7.
No, he's number 7. There he
Tell
is.
us why, Spills. Tell us why you're big on the dog.
Well, mainly as a personal, from a personal perspective, he's sort of the one bloke that's not in my team. That's in a lot of other sides, and if he goes well, similar to Gordon, it's Gordon vibes all over. If he goes well, like I don't, like that's the antipod. So it's just a good opportunity to sort of level out with the rest of the comp, and yeah, he's proven that he can do it. He's playing such a great season. A bit of ruck, bit of mid, just doing everything, taking contested marks, and he's got well this week. it's not a bad matchup, is it? So yeah, and no bye, and it also takes a bit of heat off Mick Andrew at R2. So if something does go down, like yeah, something does happen down the line, we've got that insurance, and I can rest easy there. So I know the only thing with it is it sort of stuffs my midfield up a bit. I'm very stacked in the midfield now, but we'll assess that next week. But I think Dogger's the main one for me. That's not in my side, and I just want to get him in because I know if it's a controversial call, but I definitely prefer him over Tim English for some reason. I don't know what it is. I think it's just a personal preference. Maybe it was the buy. I'm not sure, but he's great to watch, and it took a big contested mark against the D's, and I'm like, wow, I just wish I owned this bloke. And yeah, 113 was quite modest. So yeah, against Max Gorn, probably the best at the moment, or him and Cherry. Oh yeah, get Dogger on my side.
That was it for me, Spills. You sort of just touched on why it was it for me, because we saw him against Mitch Edwards early on. That's like, well, how much can we actually take from this game? Yeah, no, he's going to dominate. We expect him to. But then he comes up against the best of the best. And it's not like he got a 150 or 140 like he did the week before, but a 113 against Max Gorn, I'm taking that every day of the week. And if we're looking, and I'm not calling 113 a floor score, but if that's going to be one of the tougher opponents he's coming up against and he's doing that, then yeah, that's enough.
Like equivalent to when Dacos got 38 in the State of Origin. Like that's the equivalent in the ruck format. He's doing 113 against the best to ever do it, arguably. So
he's got a good floor. I just see his floor as being a really safe sort of a floor, and at the same time, I see his ceiling as being one of those really big ceiling type players as well. And we've got the data with Shrek, and I think speaking lots of Freo people, they're thinking that they're going to continue to play Shrek, and they like the mix at the moment. If Mason Cox comes into the side, then I get a little bit concerned about the Dogger pick, because I think a bit of ruck time may be taken away from him. But all in all, I really, really like it. So you got tick from me, tick from Spills. Janath, you will tick on the pick if you're interested in a ruck or filling that flex spot.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just interested here, boys. So if you would be going Cherry, Jackson, McAndrew, R3. Now, for those that, let's say, are Gorn and English owners, and you see in Cherry, would you sacrifice McAndrew at R3 to get Cherry into the flex?
I wouldn't just
absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way.
You have to have that on field with our rookie roulette. If you're getting a safe 70 to 80 each week, and nothing's ever locked in or guaranteed, but as much as it can be, you have to take that. I think we've got 20s from Lombard, we've got 40s from Philippou. I just think you've got to do it. So I'd prioritize getting a mid or any other position in if you're in that position anyway. I think it's too early. Like if we're later on the season, then fill it with another ruck. I think that's fine. But having McAndrew there on field, I think he's an absolute gift. So my answer would be no. I'll avoid getting a third primo ruck myself.
Awesome. Boys, I think there was just one other name that I wanted to add that's coming off the bye. No, two, actually. Collingwood defenders, Josh Dacos and Dan Houston. Now, we were going to mention whether it was a trap last week or not. Dan Houston, do we have a problem? Now, 11 marks in back-to-back weeks, 23 kicks in back-to-back weeks, I think, as well, if I'm not mistaken. Where do we stand on this pick? Because I think he's for real. Oh, 21 kicks. Sorry, 21 kicks in back-to-back weeks, 11 marks in back-to-back weeks as well. Collingwood's game style looks to be a lot chip. Are you boys sold?
I'm not sold, but I think at 431k, a break even of 23. That's low risk. That's super low risk, and with what we've got in defense at the moment, with all the buys and stuff, he's done it before. if he can keep it up, it's a bonus. But he's 431k, boys. That's so cheap. I mean, I've simplified it a little bit. I haven't gone into the stats too much, but I've seen him do it before, and he's looked good twice, passed the eye test, and coming off a buy at that price, at that break even, he's in for me. And if it doesn't work out, hopefully he's up to 500k by then, and you pivot to someone else. But I think that's really unlikely. So yeah, we don't have a problem, Janath. He's in.
Yeah. I'd say the feeling I've got with this pick, this is the absolute feeling I've got, and I can almost guarantee you this will happen. If I do pick him, he's going to turn to absolute shizen. And if I pass on him, he's going to turn into Gary Ablett Jr.
You probably don't need him in your side after all, DR. You're pretty well equipped in defense.
No, look, I'm keen for him. I'm keen for him. Yeah, I was
just saying that so you didn't curse him, because if that was the case, then maybe give him a miss and I'll grab him instead.
Look, the only issue for me is I'd love one extra set of data with him, Moore, and Jeremy Howe on the side.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'd love to see. Even with the kick-ins, traditionally Moore's taken a lot of them. Howe's taken some. How much of the pie do they take? I'm really not too sure. And it was only 4 handball receives, I think, last week from Houston. So I did mention my round review. I'd really like to see him get on his bike a little bit and really demands more of the football. McRae wants it in his hand, apparently. That's a directive. So I suppose that's a big thing as well. I'm trusting Fly. There's a bit of trust in Fly. I don't feel like it's trusting Brad Scott or Chris Scott or Bevo or anyone like that. I think he's a decent sort of a bloke, Fly. And from what we saw last week, that looked to be what they were looking to do. So, yes, I'm looking to get him in. But as you touched on, Spills, it's a large part of it's because of the price and the fact that if it does go really bad, then you're not going to lose a heap of cash. We'll make a little bit and then we might be able to move on. But yes, without being overly confident.
So just some data on that in terms of handball receives at Collingwood. So Nick Dacos, 2 games, 18.5 handball receives a game, which is otherworldly, leads the competition. Then you got Harry Perriman, Josh Dacos, 8.5, Jack Crisp at 8, Paddy Lipinski at 8. Dan Houston's in the top 10. He's only got 6 handball receives per game. So you can look at it one of 2 ways. Is it meat on the bone, or is it a recipe that if his marks go down, then his score goes down? And that's where I'm sitting. And I see Josh Dacos as probably the more safer option. You know what you're probably going to get from him, whether he plays at halfback or in the midfield, he'll probably get to that 100. Whereas Dan Houston, at a little less than 100k cheaper, so it's 94k cheaper, could be more of the boom or bust pick that we may need to trade out later down the line, or we could have as a keep at D6.
Yeah, my gut's telling me it's going to be good. I don't know. Gut feels saying it's going to work because I reckon he's got a chip on his shoulder, doesn't he? I mean, everyone's calling for his head. What a failed recruit it was, overrated, and I don't think he'd forget that. So no wonder they want to get the ball in his hands so he can sort of prove the critics wrong. And I think he's going to have a great season and just a low risk pick. And I do like Josh Dacos as well, but I've never been a fan of like picking players who are prone to role changes. Someone that's played midfield, wing, half back. I don't really want that. I'd rather Houston where like you know what you're getting, and hopefully the output's good. But if the marks can stay up and the handball receivers can stay up, he's gonna be fine. So I'm not trying to overthink it. I reckon I'm just gonna go there and hope for the best, really. But I'm not too stressed about it.
Boys, I think we do need to do one thing, and that is at least give one premium forward option because Tracks are forward, and I don't think we've even given a forward. So I just want to put in.
Oh, it's slim pickings, isn't it?
Why isn't he coming out? This is a man that I'm going to throw out here. Brian Myers. Yeah. It's because I don't like a heap of the other options, but I think what people are forgetting is in the opening round, he wasn't actually that terrible. So he's got 75 Supercoach points there, but it was a game where he had extremely low efficiency and still got enough of the ball. So there's 28 touches there, 10 marks, 4 tackles. Don't know if the efficiency we can see here. We can't see it, but from memory, it was really low. And then last week, 108 points, 25 touches. So had less touches, yet over 30 points more. So I think, Janath, you were talking about his data towards the end of last year, the back end of last year, where he actually started coming up the ground more, sort of coming up into that midfield. He's probably the man for me out of the other forwards that I don't own that I'd be most keen on in regards to a premium. He's a bit of a pod. Can I just ask you two boys just to give us one forward? You could agree with Grind, go with someone else, but if you do need a forward, that's why I'm looking elsewhere.
That's not on the buy. If he's not on the buy, if you have to ask me for one forward, Murphy Reed, 370,600, 89 and 95 to start the season, playing high half forward, going into the midfield, comes up against Richmond in his next game, also got West Coast in his next 4. It's the best I've got. There's no real other players.
No.
I've got another one. I've got another one, boys. I've actually got one. We only got one game, but who knows what could happen. But Jack Lukosius has dropped to 110. I think he's
I thought you're going ranking. He's gone Lukosius.
Yeah,
no. Boy, he's like 230k. He's cheap as. He's like 230k. If he does another ton, like I know, I'm spitting anything, mate. Like there's nothing really. I just thought I'd mention it.
Look, desperate times, desperate measures, Spillsy, and I love the fact you've pulled a name out, mate. Yeah, exactly
cheap.
right.
Well, he's cheap, so
it's
I don't
shocking.
know, whatever.
Even like you would have been half confident on Michelle in his role maybe after his first game, and he just turns to absolutely nothing as well. So forwards, very, very slim pickings. But
do you know what the sound plan is? The sound plan, I reckon, is if you need to bring in a forward for Christian Petrarca and you don't have Braden Cook, he's probably the only rookie that you probably has that forward DPP as well. Get Braden Cook in this week.
He's not bad.
Reassess next week if you need to bring in another forward, because there's so many options that on the buy this week as forwards that will open up for next week, at least, even though it's very slim pickers. I'm talking your Dylan Moore, Connor McDonald, Toby Green, if you want to go that way. Maxi Hall is on the buy next week, but looks okay. But yeah, I think very, very few options that you could genuinely.
At least the guy makes Dev Rob a keeper almost. Like
possibly.
Realistically, it could be the way it's going.
Cozzy Pickett's one that doesn't have a buy, but he's just game's not converting Supercoach points just yet. Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't do it for me, Cozzy, for some reason. But Janath, we've got some decent options here, mate, with the break evens. So take us through some of these rookies on the bubble, and we might even be able to break this up maybe into some more must-have type territories. We're not too sure, 50-50s, and maybe ones that we don't need to worry about too much. So take us through it, mate. The rookie data dump.
All right, lads, I'm going to make it very simple. I'm going to categorize into who I think is a must-have, who are respectable rookies to consider, and who are peripheral rookies to consider, or they're getting the job done at the moment, sort of rookies.
Like it.
And then I'm also going to talk some future rookies as well. So I've got 6 rookies that I think are must-have, 2 of them that are very close, as in they're basically must-haves. If you have them, you're happy with it. If you don't have them, you're not sure whether you'll trade into them or not. And I'm going to go through by break-even here, boys, because I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it. So by break-even, Milan Murdoch, he's averaging 101, looks incredible, playing a high half forward, mid-roll, break-even of negative 145. If you don't have him, have to have him. I think it was a risk to go early last week. I forgot to mention, I did go Hayden Young to Milan Murdoch to unlock even more cash. It's like a bank over here at the moment. So if you don't have him in, boys, get him in. Do you guys have him?
I'll start him, mate.
Spillsy?
Yeah. He's a friend.
No.
That's great. No,
but
so they
absolutely.
are in your trade plans this week?
Oh, 100%.
Non-negotiable. His partner in crime, David Robertson, he's averaging 100, break even of 100, negative 131. Again, easy money. Jagger Smith, I'm not even going to talk about him. Most coaches should have him in. If you don't, get him in. Averaging 89. Lockie McAndrew, he hasn't failed to deliver so far this year. 83.5, coming up against 2 really good ruckmen in Darcy Cameron and Tim English, and has held his own. Should come up against Mitch Edwards this week and hopefully deliver us a bit of a pop score here. Fingers crossed. He's looked really good. Definitely covering the ground well. I think he's a must-have. Tom Myers playing at North, Riley Hardiman's to come back in, which is a bit of a worry. And I just hope that at least we get a couple of cash rises from Tom Blamires. If he's named this week, you play him. He looks good. I don't think Clarko goes away from him. I think there's other players in the North lineup that probably get dropped ahead of him. But I said that about Josh Lindsay as well, and here we are. Now, the one that's sort of gone up my rankings a little bit, DR, you're going to be happy to hear this. With Connor Rosie's injury, Jack Watkins. So Jack Watkins was probably a little bit on the outer for me leading into this week. It was between looking into Harry Sharp, Jack Watkins, and Braden Cook, Spillsy, your boy, in terms of who was really delivering. And I tell you what, Jack Watkins had 59% CBAs. He had 84% CBAs in the fourth quarter, not in the fourth quarter, after Connor Rosie injured himself. So 84% CBAs there for Jack Watkins. Now, the issue here is Ollie Wines is due to return this week. How does that impact him? If Wines is the direct replacement of Rosie, at least that should mean that we should still get some decent CBA numbers for Watkins potentially. We also did see that Jason Horn-Francis CBAs went up, but Miles Bergman's went from 33 to 0. So if Bergman is also out, this could mean that Jack Watkins is there. So I think those are my 6 must-haves. And then I've got 2 rookies that are close to must-haves, although if you went without them, you're probably not going to get hurt by it. Todd Marshall's one of them. Negative 78 break-even. Did have that injury scare in rounds 1, but got through it. I think he's going to be a consistent 70 scorer. Probably not going to get to 100 because he's not much of a ball winner. Probably not going to score 50 because he still gets the intercept marks and the kick-ins. So he's one. The other one is Braden Cook. So again, got into the game as the game went on, had a crucial goal assist to Riley Thilthorpe in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, I think. And so that really boosted his score a little bit. Got to 62, average of 77. He's probably in and about there. So those 8 boys, off those 8, how many do you have at the moment and how many of them should you have at the end of this round?
Well, I've got all but Murdoch and Cook. So I've got 6 out of the 8, but I'll have 7 out of the 8.
Yeah.
I would have Marshall. I think I would have him as a must-have. And the only reason why I say this is because he's locked in that DPP pretty much. And I think having that defensive forward DPP, and if you're going to hang on to someone like a Connor Buderick, for example, I just love that DPP flexibility with him. And it also allows for some trade flexibility when he's ready to cull. No buy. We've already seen what he can do in the role. He's a mature type player. So I would probably have Marshall in my must-have category. That's the only thing that I'd probably have up there, mate. Spillsy, how many have you got out of the 8? Are you 7? Are you 8?
Might be all 8. I reckon he's all 8.
Yeah, all 8. Yeah.
Oh, your dog.
Yeah, all 8.
Nice
Your dog.
I agree with you.
Your dog. I say that lovingly. It doesn't sound lovely.
You dirty dog.
You dirty dog.
Yeah. No, it's all right, boys. 8. Yeah, 8's pretty good. So good spot, but I agree with you, Dow. I'd have Todd Marshall as a must-have as well. I think just to add on that, the other forward rookies aren't really shooting the lights out, are they? I mean, Leo Lombard, nice little 20 there against Richmond. Do you want to feel that? And like Filippo, like all the potential in the world, but just has not delivered. Yep. So I feel so comfortable just having Todd there, F5, F6, and he's probably the easiest forward rookie. Like, you just don't worry about him. The floor scores aren't there, but obviously the ceiling ones aren't there. I think he will have them on his day, but everything you discussed, I'd probably have Marshall as a must-have, but I don't think Cook is as such. I would have said it like with Petrarca almost be a must-have because that forward DPP is really good and you want that. But now that Petrarca's not in the side anymore, I don't think Cook's demand is as high. There's not as much urgency to have him. So, if we knew Petrarca was going to get injured, I probably wouldn't have started Cook in the first place. So, I think all must have except Cook. So, all pretty good. But I'm happy to have more.
Janath, this may segue into the next one. I was really hoping that the bloke I traded in last week, Sam Grill, was going to be in your close to must-haves. I'm guessing after last week, he probably would have been. Maybe not after the low score this week. How do you
Yeah, I
feel
broke him.
on Grilly?
I
Yeah, I
think
broke the grill.
The
Yeah.
role is there. The role is definitely there. Jaden Short and Sam Banks. He's probably playing third fiddle as such. I think with the other 8 players that you mentioned there, I think there's a clear pathway for points. Cook, perhaps the one that isn't, and that's why I have him sitting between the must-haves in this next category. I agree with Marshall. I just think that given the injury, all of that, it was just a bit of a scare.
Oh,
he
fair.
has a good role,
Yeah.
scores well, but yeah, I think compared to the other 6 that have defined roles, Marshall has the defined role as well, whereas Cook may be a bit in and out. I'm not convinced with Cook that he holds his spot long term, which is the worry for me, is that I don't know. It's just a gut feel there. It's similar. I see them as very similar players. So that's just a personal take then. That's probably why I'm a bit cold on Cook, but I think that is better
Fair.
than this next bunch in terms of their price and all that taken in consideration. The DPP being
It is.
added bonus as well. So this next category is the respectable rookies to consider. So I'm going to start this off by talking about a Ruck defender, one of your boys, ZZ Bob, Zane
ZZ.
Salistevsky. I don't know. Salistevsky?
Zakastowski.
Zakastowski. There we go. Negative 49 break even. He should have at least a couple more weeks in the Lions team with Harris Andrews being out. If anything, should make us some at least small coins sitting at R3 or wherever he is at the moment for sides. I don't know if I'd be trading into him, but if you're looking at an option to get into the ruck line, I think most people will be trading up into the ruck line rather than down and getting a Zakastowski in. Ned Reeves. Ned Reeves is one that's just outside the rookie barrier, but he's had a couple of really good weeks. I think personally he's looked better than Lloyd Meek, actually. So when we look at his sort of break even, negative 49, scores of 104 and 85, 242K. The problem again, though, is a ruck. And are you really going to be bringing in Ned Reeves when you have the chance to bring in a Dogger Jackson, a Tristan Sherry this week? That's where the issue lies for me. You could bring in both, but what happens to McAndrew? Maybe if you started McAndrew at R1, you could. But I don't know if you could stomach having McAndrew at R1 for the whole time. Now, I haven't mentioned this trio of West Coast Eagles rookies that looked immaculate in the win against North Melbourne. Starting with Willem Dersman, the number 1 pick, 88, coming off a 78, so he's averaging 83. He's got a break even of -49. Bo Allen, playing off the wing and also in a halfback role, 71 and 58 in his 2 games, average of 64.5, and probably the biggest surprise packet off the lot. Cooper duff-tyler. Now, his break even is only at a -28 this round, even though he scored a ton against North Melbourne. That's because he scored 37 in their first game. So when that gets out of the price system, he could be making some quick money. The problem is, though, is that like Willem Dersma, 203.5K, Cooper duff-tyler is at 190K. So you pay enough for him. They both, Cooper duff-tyler has DPP. Bo Allen doesn't have DPP. He looks locked into that side. Again, I say that word with a lot of trepidation because we're talking about the West Coast Eagles here. Those 3 are respectable rookies you can consider. There's a couple more in this list. Sam Grill is one of them. DR, I've got him in this bucket of players that you should have, and I think long-term he'll pay out. I just think he may be a slight bit of a slow burn just to start the season. And Harry Sharp. It was between Sharp and Cook who passed the eye test more. Sharp kicked a couple of goals, just didn't get enough for the ball. He's got a break even of -30, which is still okay, but only 10 touches, 2 marks is not going to cut it. And playing Carlton, Gold Coast next 2 games, yes, our matchup should be slightly easier, but Gold Coast, again, just not convinced. Although 4 of the next 5 for the Ds are at the MCG, including the matchups against Essendon at Adelaide Oval and Richmond at the MCG. So, boys, any rookies that you think could be bumped up a tier, could be possibly overstated in their value from that mix?
No, I think you've really nailed that. I think with the West Coast blokes, you're right. If they were just that little bit cheaper, even getting more towards, your Todd Marshall type price, I think most teams would look to snap one of them up. But I think at that high price, when you've got your Blamires, your Watkins, and your Murdochs, it's very hard to pay up. You know, you're saving 100K each on those blokes. So, yeah, absolutely rate them, rate the talent, love the job security, but it's just that price difference that is putting me off. But
Even
yeah,
a Cook or a Gothard, I'd have like ahead of all of them just for that price.
Gothard is an interesting one, actually.
cheaper.
I was
Cheaper.
going to get to
Gothard.
him.
All right.
So
We'll move on.
the peripheral rookies to consider. So the other ones that now Gothard isn't on the bubble, so technically doesn't actually. He's not eligible for this, but I'll put him in the mix because
True.
even at 168K, he is technically fine in that rookie category. 47, 46 in the first two games, but a spike score of 84 coming up into Collingwood, but then the bye and Richmond. I think that's where it becomes a bit of a roadblock for Gothard is you're only going to get 1 week cash gen into him before he has the bye, and then you have to wait for the Richmond game, which should be a spike, and then North as well, and West Coast S, and the ones we talk about for the Giants rookies. So, and the premiums there. I think he's probably one that I have as a peripheral rookie because I'm not sure whether dividends will pay off going him. Similar with Max Condogiannis at Essendon, 51 and 49, playing as a medium defender. Mason Redmond being out should help him with his job security, but I just don't think the scoring potential is there. Another player that I had in this category is Lockie Doverston. Now, I own him. He looks good. He looks very zippy, just as he did in preseason. Probably not the best in terms of like his scoring potential. I think he's got, I can't even see him. Where's he gone? Lockie Doverston. Lockie Doverston has a break even of -9 coming up into the Essendon matchup. And you would hope with 3 of the next 4 at Marvel, including games against Essendon and Richmond, that we should see some 60s, 65s maybe. Not expecting too much from Doverston. He probably is going to be a slow burn, but like we saw with Isaac Kako, it just takes 1 spike score to get that price moving. Joe Berry is another one. He looked really good for Port Adelaide, and his price, I'm just trying to see where is that, 213K, so just above Willem Dersma there, but 39 round 1 against North, but 84 against Adelaide. He's one that now, listening to Ken Hinkley commentate the game against North Melbourne, against Essendon, you would think that every single player is highly rated in his eyes. He just spoke so highly of all of them, but a player that he spoke very highly of was Joe Berry. And I rated him leading in coming out of the draft class in 2024 as well. He's a very good ball user. And look at this, West Coast into Richmond, into St. Kilda in the next 3 games. Could be some, as you like to call it, DR, meat on the bone. And I'm just going to finish off with my final peripheral rookie to just talk about very, very quickly here. Actually, there's 2, sorry. Ewan McKinlay, 216.5K, 63 and 60. Same matchups, West Coast and Richmond. I'm not convinced that he's going to be the best rookie. I think you'd much rather go for Watkins type. That's 117K cheaper. And finally there, we got Ty Gallup. Should have good job security, DR, would you say? Or Zach Bailey coming in. Where do you sit on Ty Gallup in the Brizzy forward mix, mate?
I think he's looking all right. I think his job security is pretty good, to be quite honest. I don't know about his scoring potential. Look, if we have a big win, he could get on the end of a few, but no, I wouldn't be advocating really in any way to get Ty Gallup in.
And there we go. They're the rookies. There's just 2 future rookies to consider very quickly as well. Scary for, I think it might also be Cherry.
It's S, isn't it? SC.
Scary. Christopher Scary, mid-forward for Freo, -34 break-even, scored 73 against Melbourne. Now, he was in for Hayden Young. Could he hold and be another decent? All these 99K rookies are unreal. And then finally, whoever Richmond's new number 1 ruck is, if it's Oliver Hayes-Brown as 119K, Ruckman, he could be one that we look to downgrade CZ Bob to in a couple of weeks. Spillsy, lots of rookies I've gone through there.
Yep.
Is there any?
There he is.
Is there anyone that you are thinking about that you don't have already?
I genuinely think you've nailed all of them. The only ones well, for this week is probably looking at Watkins, but all the others, all the West Coast boys, just far too expensive. And the one that I do like out of them would be Dersma. I think he can do it on a week-to-week basis, but an issue with that is maybe it's a bit biased to my own team, but the midfield is that stacked that I'm not really going to utilize that. He's just going to be sitting on the bench, to be honest. So that's where it gets a little bit awkward. So I think you wait a couple, like next week or so, these Gothard, scary types, and see what they can do. But yeah, these overpriced ones, I think there's just better options for a bit less. And the only one that really caught my appeal was maybe Berry, just because I didn't realize what that run looked like. But again, yeah, a 200K. I think the money's probably better elsewhere. But no, you did a great job, man. I think you've covered it all really well. So yeah, kudos.
Just quickly on this bloke, Gary. I was speaking to my mate today, big super coach, really good footballer himself. And one of his best mates used to play with Scary last year. Apparently, he just said like local footy type thing. And he goes, like, good play. He goes, me mate's a better player, though. I'm telling him, mate's a better player. So he must be a gun. There are some guns in local football. I'll tell you that much. But really good summation, mate. I think that the obvious thing to do is really focus on those must-haves. You've got to have them in. And I think that you even prioritize those must-have rookies over really any premiums, because cash gen is king. And you need to jump on these guys early. And we've mentioned it before that the rookies that you tend to get throughout the season generally aren't the best for money making and job security. You tend to get those at the start. So I think a high priority should be to get those must-haves. You might not agree with our rankings. If you don't, awesome, no probs. But yeah, really focus on getting the right rookies in, because that is crucial to success. So boys, I reckon we've covered the rookies and the primos. Mid prices, I don't think we even need to go through. I'll go through those in the stocky this week. But what we will do, Spillsy, is look into our crystal ball, my friend, at some potential future DPP. Who's looking good, mate?
Yeah, there's actually a fair few players on this list. So what I'm going to do is just sort of drop them and like tell you, start from Adelaide, work my way down the Dogs, and tell you what DPP they're going to get. And then at the end, feel free to comment on what you reckon. But yeah, most of them are rookies that everyone already has anyway. So you'll start off with Adelaide. We got Rossco, probably going to get forward mid, or he'll get midfield. There's no one from Brisbane. Carlton had a few, but didn't really put them on the list. Sorry, Janath. I think you'd be happy with that, because there wasn't really too many. We got Sharp, Robertson, Blackerson for Essence. So Sharp will get midfield. Roberts probably gets midfield as well, and then Blackerson will get a really unique defense ruck DPP. Fremantle, we got Murphy Reed, so he will get. What is he at the moment, boys? Will he get mid DPP because he's a forward? Yep. So he's the only one we got there. For Geelong, we got Tanner Bruin. He'll get defense DPP. Cannot wait for that. Took Miller, forward DPP. He's probably the main one without Petrarca and Rao on the side. So that's really, really interesting for me. And for GWS, we got Cogs and Toby Green. I think, Cogs will get forward DPP and Toby Green should get mid DPP. For North Melbourne, we got McKercher. He's a weird one. He might get forward or mid DPP. It just sort of depends where he's at the time. Luke Parker should get defense DPP. Blamiers will get defense DPP. I think we all saw that one coming. Port Adelaide, Marshall will get defense DPP with his forward DPP. Jason Horn-Francis will get forward as well, which is good. Watkins will get forward DPP. For Richmond, we got Laylor will get mid. St Kilda, Winhager will get defense. Flanders should get midfield. Jack Carroll will get defense. Rowan uniquely will get forward DPP, so that's an interesting one. And Philippo will obviously get his midfield DPP. We're nearly done here, boys. We got Sydney. Warner will get forward DPP, you would think. Josh Wrong will definitely get mid DPP, playing on the wing there, so that'll be really handy with Sam Grill. For West Coast, we've got McCarthy. He'll get mid DPP, and Dev will obviously get the midfield as well. And the only one we got for the Dogs is Butterick, which we should all have, I'm assuming. He'll get defensive DPP, so that'll be really handy, like you alluded to before, DR, with Todd Marshall. So that's all I've really got. The rest of them were sort of, not too relevant that I didn't really write them down. So, if you guys want to add anything on there, then, feel free.
Yeah, no, all I was going to say is nothing is ever guaranteed at the moment. So some of these are pretty much locked. Like you look at someone like a Jack Carroll who's been playing all of his football down back. Others are questionable, and others we may be reaching for a little bit. But every one of the names is absolutely at least in with a chance. So don't go locking your plans in now that someone's definitely going to get it, unless it's a real obvious one. But definitely some people to put on your watch list. I've just got 4 names here, and I'm not saying I'm overly interested in all of them, but they're forward line options. I know we've been really searching for forward line options, and for me, Tuke Miller is a huge standout. Really love the way that Tukey's been going about it. I know that it ripped him in half, having the captaincy taken away from him, but he's that type of bloke, just put his head down, and won't get into that. But yeah, really like Miller. And then the other 3 forwards, Horn Francis. He burnt a few last year, I know, but he's a talented bloke. If he gets into that midfield, even up forward with some good fixtures like we saw on the weekend, he could do some damage. Rowan Marshall, I don't even know if I'm interested in as a forward with the ruck split that he's currently got. But hey, if he gets it, TDK goes out, different story. And I don't even know if I'd be interested in this bloke either, but Chad Warner, I think you've got to have a look at him as a midfielder in the forward line, but he was just so average last year that I may even just let him go through the keeper if he does get it. So they're just 4 names that stood out to me, Janath, particularly focusing on the forwards. Any that you wanted to quickly touch on, mate, before we get to the Capitano's corner?
Yeah, just want to mention very quickly, as you mentioned, DR, that you shouldn't be going about and making sort of rash moves based off of this. The DPP changes come in after round 5, so we got 3 more rounds to go basically. For that, so a lot can change in 3 weeks. So the other thing is, I think, DR, remind me if I'm wrong, is it 4 games minimum that you have to play to get DPP?
Oh, is it 4? It's 3 or 4.
Is it 4?
Yeah.
I thought it was 4
It's
or 5.
updated every 6 weeks, isn't it, during
4 or
the
5,
season?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
So
a string of games.
starts
Yeah.
at round
I
5,
think you're
but
right,
I
actually, Janath.
think it might be 4 out of 6 games played to get that. But
Ding.
regardless, there are some big changes. The other one that is a bit interesting, Colby McKercher, if he's settled into this halfback role, but can for a couple of weeks play a little bit forward for us, be a bit cheeky, and then head back down to halfback, we would be very, very happy. But I guess that's one that is a lot of wishful thinking and probably on the 50-50 end there. Thank you, Spillsy, for that. We just want to give big shout out to Fantasy Observer AFL that sort of put this together for us. So if you haven't already, go and give them a follow. They do some great
I was
stuff
meant to
over
do that.
on
I couldn't. I put him in
X.
notes, and I couldn't find the page. So yeah,
That's all right,
shout
mate.
out to you, mate.
All
No,
Good on you.
big shout out. Follow them on X. All right, Janath. Now, mate, I don't know what's happened to our fancy chart with all the colors and the numbers. We've gone a little bit old school this week, but hey, there is nothing wrong whatsoever with old school. The captain's corner is up. You are the man, or maybe I am the man now when it comes to the captains after the big X last week. But no, you are Mr. Reliable when it comes to the captains. So take us away, mate. Captain's corner for the upcoming round.
Now, Spillsy did the impersonation best, but you guys can see them writing in the Toy Story's Aliens notebook. Now, Spillsy, what's the line?
Cherry saved our lives. We are totally grateful.
Ooh, the claw. All right.
Give away.
but-
Give away.
Giveaway. Giveaway. All right. Now, in terms of the captains, you guys can see there's 3 columns there. L3 means last 3, basically from this year. L3 versus is last 3 versus the opponent. L3 at is L3 at the venue that they are playing at. So we've got Bailey Smith and Max Holmes coming up against Adelaide. I think they're both decent plays. Now, I'm going to leave the numbers here because I'm going to cut straight to the chase. If you own Tristan Cherry and Sack Butters, I think this is the easiest VC into C that you could go about finding. And I'm going to just mention Tristan Cherry is coming up against
Never look
Black
back.
Cashew. What is it?
Never
Black
look back.
Cashew? Black
Black
Cashew
cashew.
off
Stevie
199.
Black cashew.
He went 146 against them last time. And at Marvel Stadium, he's gone 128, 186, and 126 in his last 3. Like, I think that is
I
very,
rate Matt
very
Flynn higher than Lockie Blackiston. I genuinely think this could be a double ton again. I'm not even like
The
exaggerating.
only thing I will say is that Matt Flynn can't jump. At least Blackiston can jump. I'm not sure if he can do much else, but he can jump.
He jumps and
At
doesn't,
least he can jump.
doesn't even touch the ball. He can jump high, but he still misses the ball. Don't get me started.
But here's
Don't
the
get me
kicker.
started.
Zach Butters against West Coast at Adelaide Oval. He's coming off 135. His last score against them 151. And his last 7 scores at Adelaide Oval, hear this out. 135, 191, 130, 124, 154, 123, 130. So,
And
That's
people
good.
think he's going to
Some
Victoria.
insane
That's
numbers.
him at home, boys. Yeah, he's gonna belt it.
I think there are some decent options ahead of them. Jack Sinclair loves to play against Brisbane. So his last 3, I guess he got the 95, but 120 and 132 before that. Nick Dacos, if Toby Bedford's not there, Giants have given up some points to midfielders as well. Could be a bit of a spike game there for King Nick. Max Gawn, the form that he's in is really good, 141, 122. And his last 3 at the MCG have been 122, 137, 145. But I think if you own the Big X and you own Butters, VC, Cherry, C Butters, best 18, we've got to get as much points as possible. I think Tristan Cherry is going to be the highest scorer this round based on what we saw against West Coast and based on what we saw by Jordan Sweet, 120 against Blackiston. If 120 against Black Cashews is what Sweet can score, imagine what the Sweet Cherry can score.
Oh yeah, love it. I love that. So that's
We're at
absolutely what
220.
I'm doing, and I reckon as a bit of a pod option, the old Dogger. I don't mind Dogger this
Oh,
week.
Dogger's
either.
not in this one,
So-
but yes, he can well and truly get a mix as a pod VC as well, mate.
He's a great shout, but I can't overlook someone that's playing like before Cherry. I just can't. Unless you'd have Cherry as a fallback. But if Dogger went like 135, 140, this is what stuffed me over, like with Butters this week.
Butters and
I'm
Cherry.
going- That's a great
No,
score, but
yeah.
I'd much rather the 200 from the Big X. So, I don't know. It's hard to overlook if you got him. I think it's a
very
must VC.
quickly, there are no overlaps as well. So you can safely VC and see everyone get as much of a look as you need when making your picks. Just make sure the Saturday game starts at 12:35 and the Sunday game starts at 12:30 Melbourne time. So just be wary that there are some early starts to these games. A bit earlier than normal, I think. And there's no 6 o'clock game. The last game of the round is at 3:15 on Sunday, Carlton, Melbourne. So hopefully Supercoach starts up early and we can get into the trades on Sunday night.
Beautiful, mate. So I think we can all agree pretty simple this week if you've got the 2 big boys. Now on to our trades. So look, I'll quickly
Let's
touch
boost.
on my because I've already done my review.
Boosting.
Out sharp, injured rookie, low scores in the system. Don't exactly know what the story with him is, but I think I've seen enough for now. So see you later, Sharpie. The other 2 are very obvious. Petrarca out, Rosie out. Murdoch is an absolute must-have, as already said. Had to get him in. Dan Houston, I'm taking a punt on him down back. And I already mentioned the big boy, Dogger, comes in for me in the flex. Wrap Spillsy to be able to own the dog, mate. You're next up on the board. And have a look at us. We're pretty similar.
Yeah, we got that dog in us this week, boys. Yeah, he's coming in. I can't go past
Yeah.
him. Maybe it's a bit biased to the matchup that he's got this week. I think it's just a really like a cheap hit. But yeah, everyone seems to have him. I think not everyone, but he's like 30%. So like I think the risk is pretty low. Yeah, it's just good to sort of jump on. He's the sort of main one that's in a lot of sides that isn't in mine, as I touched on before. So yeah, he's pretty simple. And yeah, I think Houston's low risk with that break even, and Watkins is the 8th rookie of the list that we discussed that was in my side. So why not just grab him while he's there? So I think an opportunity is opened up for him without Rosie in the side, despite Wines coming back. And yeah, it's a bit sad with Track and Rosie. They were just the easiest picks, but it's given us a bit of an opportunity to catch up and grab the blokes that we don't have. So yeah, out of the 2, it's Houston and Jackson. And yeah, for the rookie, I think Sharp for me, even if he does play, yeah, he's playing at Essendon at a dead half forward role. This is Elijah Sardis 2.0. And I'd rather, like I know Janath has Lindsay in his trade plans, I'd rather run that on the bench and pray he comes back than try and gamble and, try my luck with a Dyson Sharp. I just don't think there's any merit in that rookie whatsoever. And we don't even need his mid forward because there is Braden Cook and there's going to be Watkins as well. So Dyson Sharp it'd take a lot for him to come good now. So Yeah, they're my trades, boys. I think it's a great week to boost. This is what the boost is for. Still 150K in the bank, so that's
Oh, yeah,
ideal. But yeah, 2 big injuries. I think we all have to boost on this one. But yeah, Janath, mate, what about you, man? Very, very similar. You go on the big X. Yeah, talk us through your trades, man.
Yeah, I
keeping
mean,
sharp.
not much needed talk about Cherry there. Cherry pie, Cherry ripe. Dan Houston, similar concept. I think I'm just going to get on him. Hope that his sort of marks, uncontested marks in particular, but I want to see a bit more from the handball receives. They do play quite early against the Giants as well, but we saw what Sinclair and Wilkie did last week as well. A bit of waxing down back against the Giants. Jack Watkins, as I mentioned, he's probably the 6th or 7th. Todd Marshall and him are probably interchangeable in terms of must-have rookies for the week. Trainav, Rosie, and Petrarca, similar across the board. Josh Lindsay was the one that was going to make weight. One thing that's worked for me in the past is getting off of these rookies that are not in the team early, because what we sort of end up happening is in upgrade season, you can just never get off the rookies that are not playing for whatever reason. And then you just end up with the 120K blokes with no DPP stuck on your bench. Now, Dyson Sharp may not even play enough games to get DPP, but I'm almost happier to risk him scoring 10 and then having a little bit of flexibility to move him about rather than just having a perennially no DPP DA. And that was the logic there. Now, Josh Lindsay could get back in, and I hope he does get back in. But after seeing how West Coast performed against North, I think he might take a couple more weeks for him to get that gig again. And then for Rossco, he's gone the triple. He doesn't even care about the rookies. I think he might have them all already. Lockie Ash, Josh Dacos, Tristan Cherry in.
Why has he still got Errol?
Connor
That's what I
Rosie,
want to know.
Goulden, and Petrarca. I think what Rossco did is just waited for this week to get the big boys in. Has 2K remaining after trades as well. Going to bring in Lockie Ash with the strategy we were talking about before the buy, and just back in the big boy off. The big boy Tristan Cherry and Josh Dacos coming off his buy. So some big moves there for Rossco. We're all boosting. We're all getting rid of Petrarca and Rosie. You boys are both bringing in Jackson. Rossco and I are both bringing in Cherry. It's going to be a big week, boys. And
who said the Rucks are no good?
And who said the Rucks are no
Such
good?
outside noise. We should never listen to it.
Is it correct that we're going to put out a special mailbag episode this week? So I'm going to jump on tomorrow. DR, you put out a mailbag tweet. We'll get some tweets in there. And I will try to bang through as many questions as possible. Hopefully, we'll make this a bit of a weekly segment. It's a bit hard in the potty going through and doing the mailbag once we've done a full potty as well. But we do endeavor to get to your mailbag questions. So it's not gone. It's just taking a different route. But when DR puts out the mailbag tweet, hit it up and we'll get to it. One of us will try to get to it every single week. That's our aim.
Absolutely, brother. And we love all the questions and community input. We may change things up. We'll see how we go. But just time-wise, a bit of the feedback that we've got is 2-3 hours is very, very long for a podcast. So we're trying to condense it to an hour and a half max if possible. And I'm looking at my screen. I don't know if yours is any different, boys. 1 hour, 29 minutes and 38 seconds.
We're there.
No,
For once, I reckon we've almost done it. Almost right on time. So
it's good. Good enough.
What a week. What a week, lads. It's been, well, I've seen the highs and the lows. I had the rainbow through the storm in Big Tristan Cherry. Plenty of bad moments, plenty of great moments, a few ordinary moments thrown in, but this is a game that we play. This is a game that we love. And whatever rank you are at the moment, just remember, it's a huge season ahead. Marathon, not a sprint.
Yep.
Don't get too down on yourself. Trade away, boost up, and make some positive changes, and you can turn things around very, very quickly. Boys, any final words before we say goodbye to our wonderful community for this week?
No, not really. Enjoy the cherry ride. Enjoy the cherry ride. It's going to be sweet.
Oh, there we go. Spillsy. We've all seen the current affair, haven't we? The crazy dog man. Like he came bounding over.
He's going to be big this week. He's going to be big. He might make a comeback.
Give us your best crazy dog man as a bit of an ode to Dogger to leave our community this week, mate. Spillsy with the crazy
I will only if you show the uncut vision of your little cherry musical that we did not showcase on the pod.
That's the outro.
Done for the outro. Done for the outro. Done. All right, Spillsy. Good negotiation, mate. Give us your crazy dog man, then we'll end with the sherry pie.
Lucy's going to be in the other room going, what are you doing? Like,
See you guys.
you better put that in the outro. You better put that North thing in, that cherry thing down.
He's my cherry pie. Check to see on in Korea best time. 199 make a grown man cry. Sweet cherry pie. Yeah, come on, Tristan. Let's go, big boy. 199 and we are on. Let's go.